So one of the questions we have with this pen is, does it need internet? Does it need a computer? And the great thing about this pen is that it's completely self-contained. It doesn't have to have a computer. It doesn't need a computer or the internet. So literally, I was in Alaska the other day and I was telling the teachers up there, you could literally be on a dog sled 30 miles north of the Arctic Circle and be using this pen. And that's something that really resonates. I mean, it's something for families that maybe don't have access to some of the technology out there, but this allows them to be utilizing this mid-technology, assistive technology, text-to-speech tool with their students in almost any situation. And that to me is pretty exciting. But there are ways that you can utilize this with a computer. And I want to show that to you because I think it's very, very powerful. If you look at the pen, I've got the pen on here. We give you a option for plugging this into your computer. So I'm going to plug in the pen now. And this connects to my keyboard. I have three selections here: keyboard, UDisc, and charging. Charging starts basically automatically, but I'm going to choose keyboard. Now, what I've done is you'll see on the back of my screen here and also on the screen on the video, you'll see that the pen is loaded up and it says character scanning. Now, what I want you to do is watch these words as I begin to scan with the pen. See how those are being loaded up automatically onto the pen or onto the computer. So this is being loaded onto a Word doc or a Google Doc. And we've asked a lot of people have said, well, will this pen translate? And inside the pen itself, no, it doesn't translate. It performs in 3 different languages, just like we've shown you through this video. It doesn't translate, but what it does do is allows you to take that, load it onto a Word document. Now, I want to show you as we're looking at this Word document, I can go in, hit review on the Word, and hit translate. Now I'm going to say translate document. Now look over here on the right-hand side. All these languages can now be translated. I've got districts that have 40, 50, 60 and more languages spoken inside of their school district. And it becomes very tough to be able to communicate, to translate in so many different languages. And they're looking for ways to how do we get this information to that parent? Well, they actually can go in, and now watch when I do this. If I go in and I've got it selected Spanish, I hit translate. Boom. Now it's translated into Spanish. If I want to go back, here's my English again. I can go in, I can translate it into Swahili. I can translate it into Russian. We've had, many of our states have had many Russian students come into the district. And so they're looking for ways. Here's even Ukrainian. Let's select Ukrainian, hit translate. Now it's translated right into Ukrainian for those students. It really opens the door for a lot of situations. But as a teacher, I've seen a lot of teachers use this in multiple ways. Maybe for an IEP where they just want to get text onto their IEP. They can utilize this pen to get that text right onto their computer. I've seen them use it again for translating IEPs for different languages and putting that in there with that. There's just a lot of really cool ways that they can utilize this pen. I've also seen students use this where they've got text that they want to get information from their text or from their book onto, say, a report. They can scan that right in to their report, load it in there, and now they didn't have to sit and type all those words, type all that passage into the pen itself. So that is something we're seeing really be having excited use. And you'll notice it just says character scanning. It loads it right onto that Word document or Google document, whichever one you have opened, and allows some success that way. So what I want to do now is I'm going to unplug the pen. Now it's going to go back to text reader. Now, typically, if you have a computer, you probably want to hit eject is probably the more proper way to do it. but I just took a shortcut there. And I'm going to go back to my screen. So now I've gone back and you'll see that I've got my desktop showing. Now when I plug in my computer, let's show the pen one more time. I plug in my computer to the pen and you'll see I've got, again, my three choices: keyboard, UDisc, and charging. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to UDisc, scroll to the right. Now I'm going to select UDisc, but what I want you to do, once I select this, I want you to watch my screen on my computer. So I'm going to open up UDisc. It's going to say UDisc connecting. Watch my screen. You're going to see that here it is. I've titled mine. Now the first time you open yours up, it's going to say untitled folder. So I've titled mine. The great thing about this, like I said earlier, I've got schools that have hundreds of these pens. They've actually given them to students to use the entire year, just like a computer. So you can go in and maybe you would name this, John's pen or Patricia's pen or Joanne's pen, whatever. You can go in and you can actually name this pen and then have access to that. So when I open up my file, here is where I can see, again, some pretty cool things. I can see my history. If I open up my history, and I select that, here's my word list. Remember those words that we loaded onto the pen? I can open that up. Now here's all the words with the definitions. So if you're sharing a pen, what's great about this, if you have a student that's loaded words in there and they want to keep that, you can connect it to a computer, you can download those words, print them off, and they can have a printed version of this as well to learn those vocabulary. Again, what I love about this, it's allowing students to find their own words that they need, words that we may never have even thought they needed to know, but they've just been utilizing maybe wrongly. And so it allows a student to become independent, confident, a vocabulary learner. So I can do that right here off of my file. Now I go back and I've got my history there again. Here's my listen file. Remember when I talked about if you can save text onto the pen? So I'm going to open up listen file. Maybe they've put a poem on there, or maybe they've put some passage that they want to save. They can go in, they can open that, and here's that passage that I put in, and it's available to me. So I want to show you how you can delete words off of the dictionary. So if I open up dictionary, I select dictionary, now I go to menu, I go down to history, I open that up, I select menu once again, and now I can delete all those words off the pen, and I won't have those on there. They'll still be on the practice, but they won't be on that definition in the dictionary any longer, which is good. So we don't want to load the pen up as well. Also, if I go into library and open up library, I can see my text files. So I've opened up my text files now. I can go over here or go down to the file, go to the right, and I can delete those off if I so choose. Also, recordings, same situation. I go down to the recording, scroll to the right, I can delete that off. And I believe it's the same thing with the music. I go down to the song, scroll to the right, and hit delete. Yes, and I can take that off my pen. So it clears the pen up and allows other students to use it, or just gives you room on the pen. So that's how you delete off the pen. Here's my recorder. If I open that up, all those recordings, remember that one I just put on there? It's now on the pen. I can listen to it off the computer if I so choose. And that's my recording on there. So also, if I want to put any music, so if I have some music on this pen that I want to load on it, I can just put it on my desktop, grab it, and scroll it over to my file here, put it in there, and it'll load it right onto the pen for me. It's pretty cool.